Coming at you with the latest update we got for this Avalon model. So now we got most of the skin coat, everything kind of dressed up. Still a little bit more work left to do, but what we did, we went back and added the flange right here. For this plug, you see it's gonna wrap all the way around the back. So we got a 3-inch flange going around all the way to the end of it. And then what that's for is basically when we make a mold out of it and when we pop a boat out, we'll actually have this flange. You can drive a wedge under there. It helps separate the actual product, the finalized boat, from the mold. And obviously at that point you'll cut it off in your rubber rail. When your top cap goes back to it, it'll fit there. Also, if we ever wanted to go back and say we're going to vacuum bag it at some point, you're going to need that flange to do vacuum infusion. So kind of see we got a flange going all the way around the back. You kind of see this little step down here. And of course we added this piece. This is for the 20.5-inch transom we talked about when we looked at the top mold before. So we got the extension. So actually this line right here, this would be a 17-inch transom. Down here at the bottom is a 20.5. And the reason we got this little step pattern up in here is what we're gonna do. This right here is actually the top of your boat, the top cap. The edge will fit here, and you have an 1.5-inch flange up here at this point, and then your rubber rail will actually cover this entire area here. So whenever you build, say, a plug, when you get done, you're actually gonna cut this flange off. So technically, you're actually gonna cut it off down here. The top cap, that one will be cut here, so you get the overlap shoebox fit. So what we have to do in this area, since we're trying to build this as a dual purpose mold, obviously, is when you come across, you're actually gonna cut the bottom boat. You're actually gonna cut it here, you actually cut here, and then run it back around and run across the back of the transom. And then your top cap will be, obviously, inversely cut, allowed to fit, and you can have your trim pieces that actually come across all the way up in this area, and then your rubber rail will actually fit across and cover everything else up. If you want to go a 20.5-inch transom, say your long transom, what we're actually going to do is come across, do the same cut, but we're actually just going to keep going with it here, go down, and then follow around this right here. That'll give you a 20.5-inch transom. We got to put this little piece in here, and of course sidewall right here. Whenever you're laying your glass and your gel coat, you got to have even coverage going all the way across. So if we just stopped it up here, the problem is a lot of time when you do your gel and your fiberglass, you get uneven edges, you'll get some cracking, you don't get good coverage all the way through the very edge of the boat. So you do this here, so you go down here and ensure that down here you may have some cracking or any issues, but by the time you cut it, up here it's clean like it's supposed to be. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna dress all the rest of this up, do some more skin coat on that. Same thing around the very bottom edge of it here. Kind of see what we got. So we got a skin coat down here. Now that we got the flange on there, we can make everything match, kind of give a little rolled edge, so fiberglass will lay nice and flat on it. So obviously getting a little closer here, kind of see the progress. V-bottom hull. Now the other thing we got to do on here on the pad, we're actually going to put dams up the side of it here, and we're actually going to pour this entire pad. Reason being, we got a pour on there. We want to make sure we have a nice straight pad on it. Issue we got right now is probably up in this area. We have a slight little dip in there, a little hook into it. Obviously, you know that's going to rob performance on speed as well as any porpoising or anything. Not sure if you can quite see it, but it's right in this area. We got like a little bit of a dip that goes in. So when we pour it, this thing is going to be a perfectly straight all the way across, pretty much blueprinted out the mold. And that's the plan for that. So like I said, we got the front kind of cleaned up. So once we get those few little items taken care of, we'll be able to start laying some glass. As you can put probably a 3/4 inch, maybe an 1.5 ounce overlay to seal the entire boat up. And then from that point, it's tooling gel. And obviously a lot of sanding and polishing. And once that's done, then essentially we have a plug ready to go.